Minority Leader.
I thank the Speaker. I rise today to talk about the state of affairs here in the People's House and the extent to which the majority has been using the time and the floor of this valuable body, the People's House, to promote wokeness first rather than America first. And this is what we see every single day. And I know I have a few of my colleagues here tonight with me because this is such an important time in our country's history. We have so many important issues we need to be addressing, ought to be addressing, and yet the People's House is not addressing them. And instead, the People's House is focusing on advancing wokeness first instead of America first. I've got a number of things I'm going to get into and talk about addressing these particular issues. But I would just note that my good friend and someone I admire a great deal, birthday is tomorrow, and that is Justice Clarence Thomas. And for those who know his story and have read his biography, his autobiography, written through the eyes of his relationship with his grandfather, my grandfather's son, Justice Thomas, I think, represents all that is great and good about this country. He represents all that is great and good about overcoming the devastating impact of Jim Crow laws in the South, the discrimination that we saw rampant in his native hometown of Savannah, and watching his life story and walking through his life story and the progression of what that meant and where he ended up and what he achieved, and then what we witnessed in that fall of 1991 with the obscene, absurd actions by the Senate Judiciary Committee, chaired, by the way, by then Senator Joe Biden, attacking this good man, Clarence Thomas, attacking his integrity, attacking his character. And yet what do we see out of the life and the service of Clarence Thomas but the embodiment of the fulfillment of the American dream and a recognition of what you can achieve when you fight for it, when you work for it, and you overcome the odds against you. And what a beautiful story it is. And why do I raise that now? Because in a world of wokeness, in a sea of wokeness, all driving an agenda, purposeful, by the way, by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, to divide this country by race, to divide this country, and to highlight issues of division and separation. As Justice Roberts fairly eloquently stated, he said it was a sordid business, this divvying us up by race. And we see it every single day. And it is highlighted by this body. And I'm going to go through that in a minute. But every single thing this administration, every single thing this Democrat-led House of Representatives, everything that the Democrat-led United States Senate is doing is designed very purposely to divide us by race, and we should be better than that. And I think there are things that we all know that are on the minds of the American people, whether it is in increasing prices because we spent $6 trillion and lumber prices are going up and housing prices are going up. And we have a border that's under assault and cartels who run our border, and we're turning the keys of the kingdom over to Iran and China instead of siding with Israel. And we're flooding the economy with dollars and driving up inflation, but also racking up mountains of debt. All of these things are occurring. And the regulations that my friend from Texas, Mr. Crenshaw, was just talking about, the regulations strangling business. We're paying people more not to work than to work. And all of our small businesses are at home going, stop it. Please stop it. I've introduced legislation to say, let's end those plussed up unemployment benefits. Will we debate those here in this chamber? No, sir. Why? Because we're going to advance woke legislation. We're going to talk about woke bills. We're not going to talk about all the small businesses, by the way, often owned by minorities, often owned by people who need to be able to hire people and they can't because this institution spent $6 trillion and doled it out to destroy the American dream by paying people more to work than to not work. It's absolutely astounding. And that's what we have. And this chamber is empty. What have we done today? We voted on a couple of random bills. I don't know if they're suspension bills, what we did today. What are we even going to do this week? The American people don't know because we're not doing anything. They're looking at this chamber and they're saying, what are you doing? We have an obligation to fight and defend the American people and to do our job. And I'm delighted to have my friends from Texas here. And I'd yield such time as the gentleman from Texas shall consume, Mr. Babin.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much for